Yeah, Professor Nagendraji, you can start now.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank all of you for joining us here. Today, I, Professor Nagendra Narayan, on the behalf of Lovely School of Architecture and Design, Lovely Professional University, Punjab, India, welcomes you all for this session, in which we are going to talk about role of young female leaders in local development. Since the inception of Lovely School of Architecture and Design, quality education has been central to our mission, and we strive to provide consistent academic mentoring to ensure our students' success in academic and professional life. Lovely School of Architecture and Design is among India's best colleges and ranked among top 10 promising architecture institutes of India by Higher Education Review. We are in the 21st century in an era of smart cities, sustainable development, sustainable buildings, and contemporary interiors. We train our students to become lateral thinkers by focusing on critical design approach. We, with this exposure to an international environment, access to latest tools, softwares, and technology, and our students become architects who create buildings and infrastructure that are globally acknowledged. As we all know that leadership plays very vital role in holistic growth of a human being as well as their professional lives that leads to the societal and local development. In this regard, so far, for more enlightenment on this particular topic, today we have young people's representative in Madhya Pradesh, Madam Bhakti Sharma ji, among us as a speaker. I am on behalf of my school, warm welcomes you, ma'am, for the session. And we have Professor Dr. Tej Karki, sir, architect planner from Nepal, as the moderator for this session today. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Tej Karki, sir, is currently visiting professor at Lovely Professional University. Dr. Tej received his PhD from Northern Eastern University, USA. He has BA degree from Chandigarh College of Architecture, India, and a master's in planning from the Asian Institute of Technology, Bangkok. He has served as a chief town planner of Kathmandu city. In 2016, he was MIT visiting scholar for carrying out research on urban flooding. His most recent research interests are in politics of climate change, urban resilience, disaster governance, and inclusive planning. So now, without taking any more time, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Tej Karki, sir. Sir.
Thank you, Professor Nagendra, for your introduction. It's a great pleasure to start this webinar, and I welcome all of the participants and our special guest today to learn more about the local development practices and all. So today, what I will do is it will be a conversational webinar. I will introduce Bhakti Sharma, the we say VDC chairman, but in India it's a Sarpanch, the head of the Panchayat, Bhakti Sharma. I have done a couple of research on her area, and I will try to minimize all the questions that are covered on her by different media and all. So all that I will describe in her introduction, and after that introductions we'll have some learning conversational question answers, and to listen a lot from her experiences and inspire all the participants and all the BTC chairmen and local government youths and youngs to join and make change in South Asia. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Bhakti Sharma ji. So her education is in MA in Political Science. She has done a special course on King's College London, and she is also doing a law degree. That's her education, and her family background is she's from a landlord family, big landlord family in Madhya Pradesh, and her VDC is in Madhya Pradesh, and she has a very encouraging father, a mother from a high family. A grandfather is a very famous social worker in the entire region there. And she has a circle of well-educated family, a financial background. Of course, her financial background is very strong. And leadership experience. She was a president of Newton College Union in Bhopal. She has already served as the president of College Union. And she has traveled to the US and experienced about the US. And after US, she joined this politics. And her life skills are, she is very strong in tractor driving in a farm. She also, for her security reasons, she knows how to handle the pistol for her security herself. And she's a basketball player. And she also told that she also likes the horse riding and things like that. So she has done a lot of village programs and policies. I will talk about her policies and programs. She has done, she gives 2 months salary to mother of a girl, and she goes and plants 10 green trees there. So she gives 2 months salary to mother of a girl child. She wants to encourage the mother to nurture the child, the girl child, in a better way. So she wants to encourage them. And at the same time, she is also environmentally conscious and encourages people to, at the same time, one girl means 10 trees should be planted. So next very interesting thing is that she listened to the villagers and developed a road to school, because school children want to go to good road to school. And she has done a solar lit streets and housing for all. After she joined, she did 80% of houses are now pakka, permanent. Earlier they were very kacha. And she has a Nal Jal program. The water is very crucial for irrigation and drinking. And she has a Nal Jal program she's implementing. And according to her, there are now no more malnourished child in the village. The nutrition has improved. And the open defecation free village development committee, her village development committee is open defecation free. And she gives free health camp, rural urban interaction. She also does that rural urban interaction so that urban people come and learn from the villages, and villagers also learn from the urban people. And also she has planned to do organic farming, village tourism, and so these are the two things. So she has also a plan. So overall, I gave her a background. But if I missed anything, or if Bhakti Sharma ji want to explain her one program policy so dear to her, so I asked her to very briefly explain about the program that you implemented and that you care a lot.
Oh, thank you so much, Tej Kumar sir, for such a lovely introduction. This is like coming out in a very easy manner. And thank you, Nagin sir, and respective. I thank everybody who's like from the LPU. And so they're like, wherever I've been doing in like past 5 years after being elected, all the programs have been very, very close to my heart. But so one of the sessions that you spoke about is the rural urban interaction. That is something which is very, close to me, because in a country like India, we have 68% of the population still living in the villages, and we have 65% of the youth in our country. And I see these 32% of the people who are staying in the urban areas, they don't, are not somehow connected to their roots. So all these students going to these high-end schools and colleges, I would really request them to come to our village, and then you understand how a village functions, how it works. Whatever we study in our civics classes, it is altogether different when it comes to the practicality of the grassroots. So, we do these interactions in which when these people who are well nurtured, who are well read, and who are well educated and come from like high-end backgrounds, when they come to the village, they understand that what are the roots of the country, where they understand that yes, India depends still not on compromises but on adjustments. India is a country that still respects women. In Madhya Pradesh, whenever a father and a brother they go out of their home, there's a trend or there's a tradition of touching the girl's feet and then leaving the house. When these students, when they come to the village, they see that how people are self-satisfied and they're happy in the smallest of the things possible. They're not the people who have those high-end gadgets, or they don't study in those good schools, but they have a feeling of self-satisfaction. They have a feeling and a love towards the mother India, the mother nature. And when they learn these things, it's altogether a different concept. And yes, above all, when we see these kids across India and across the world, when they come, they're more tend to eat the Japanese, Italian, Lebanese food. Yeah, but when they come to the village, they eat that the basic food. So in Madhya Pradesh, we have this dal bati churma. You must have heard in this Rajasthan. So, when these kids come, the youth of the nation, from the urban areas, when they come to the rural, they understand that yes, this is the pure essence. And the whole motive of this program is to make them understand that at the end of the day, you need to stick to the roots of the country, and the roots lie not in the metro cities or not in the smart cities, but yes, in the villages. So this is a concept which is very, very close to my heart. And it's a two-way process and interaction. And also the students from the village, they also learn about, some small counseling session is given to them from these students. So overall, it's a two-way interaction where they get unite, they spend days, and that's how they understand each other's culture and to get along. It's a great thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you very much for your nice answer.
Yeah.
Try to be slightly louder, or if your speaker is low, let's make it louder so that all can hear well you.
I'll make sure. I'll make sure.
Yeah, so it was a real interesting answer. So let's go into your challenges and all. So to start with, I'll ask you the question: what is the most difficult part in running a panchayat? What did you find? What is the most difficult part?
So, in India, we have approximately 2.5 million panchayats that constitutes approximately 4 lakh villages. The struggle is not only from the side of the administration, from the execution, but also from the side of the villages. We need to understand that the nuance of coming out of the comfort zone for the people who are staying in villages is a very tough job. They really don't think that if a youth of the country they plan to contest an election. So is that better now? Yeah. So if they plan to contest an election, so the one thing that is important is to convince the people to vote for them. Second is to make people understand that yes, we are experimental, we have a vision. We need to do a lot of great things, and we really want the policies of the government should be implemented. So that it's not only the Sarpanch or the head of the village who has to come, but yes, there has to be strong coordination between the villagers and the Sarpanch. So for that, the people need to come out of their comfort zone and understand that yes, there are policies of the government. So how can we, implement them? It would be only possible when the people would be interested in understanding them and would be able to come out of their comfort zone and try and understand them and implement them. So that is one of the basic struggles. If I especially talk about a woman or a girl, because when I was only 25 when I stood for the elections. People had a lot of questions for me. They had a lot of struggle.
The voices are breaking, but can you put closer to that?
Is that?
Yeah, speaker. Yeah, now I think it will. Let's see. It will work.
Yeah. Is that okay now? Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Yes.
it's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So as women, there are a lot of issues because people trusting a 25-year-old girl is one of is a question. Whether she'll be able to do it. What her ideas. Will she be able to implement the government policies? Is she only there for the namesake, and there would be a Sarpanch father or Sarpanch brother who would be contesting, who would be standing with her, and she would just be a rubber stamp. So this was one of the strong things. The women were also very, subtle. They were not even sure if like, the women, when I was contesting for my elections, when I went, so the women used to ask me, what happened if you got married? Who is going to take care of the child? So it was like, I was very sarcastic. I was like, don't worry, I'm not going to get married for the 5 years. I'm going to make sure that I complete this whole tenure, and then I'm going to think about it. So, women had different questions. My secretary was also very, conscious. He was like, oh, she's going to come, like hardly she would come for a day or two, and it would be me who's going to take care of everything. And the administration is also not ready to, hold your hand, because they are also not very sure whether a pure conservative traditional village would be accepting of women, or a girl, I must say, and try to, burden her shoulders with the responsibilities, and how is the administration going to look towards it? So, these are the very strong struggles, I must say. And you need to, overcross all these hurdles. And, this only not only ends till you are a Sarpanch, it continues. It continues with every day, every month, and every year. Because a person like me, or the youth of this nation, has a lot of ideas. There's so many experiments that we really want to do, and then people would actually question us every time with a lot of things. So the struggle is a never-ending process.
Yeah, I think you have answered that question, the difficult one. But slightly, I want to just reframe this question. What skills we need to run a panchayat successfully?
Yeah. Okay. I recently took a session on politics.
We are not hearing you. I mean, it's yeah.
Sound is not coming, ma'am.
Is that seriously?
Yeah.
Sir, hello. क्या अब आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, now
Hello?
it's okay. Now it's okay.
It's okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I recently took a session, and somebody asked me, what are the traits of running a panchayat or in politics? My answer was, what was right yesterday might not be right today, and what is wrong today might not be right in the future. So when it comes to panchayat, there is actually not even a single framework that is going to define. In a vast country like India, after every 20 kilometers, the language changes, the dressing sense changes, the food we eat changes. And in all these things, we don't have one single formula on how to actually run a panchayat. And a Sarpanch in our country, people need to understand that he or she is basically a mediator or a stronghold between the government and the people. So basically, my only duty is to whatever the government has got us some policies, so I really need to implement that at my panchayat. And the problems that have been faced by the people, my duty is to actually, come across them and make government understand that these are the policies that need to be reframed or rebuilt, so that we can have a better, version of these policies at our panchayat. Now coming to the changing scenarios in our country, some things that are actually needed are there has to be a sense of commitment. There has to be a sense of creativity and a sense of collaboration. When I was working in this sphere, I thought that these 3 C's would be the core of my working in Barkhedi Abduallah Panchayat. And second thing is the awareness towards the Panchayat policies and how people would be helping me is one again an important thing, that how I need to work, and most importantly is the positive energy, because we really need to have a vision. So 5 years back, when I contested for my elections, when I stood for my elections, I had this election manifesto, and 90% of the things that we said in that, they're fulfilled today. So whatever we made was not from my mind. Whatever points did I add in the election manifesto that were actually being framed with the help of the village older men and the women. So that's how I actually started it.
Yeah, thank you. Now I'm asking you a very interesting question, and that is, what do you do if you face disagreeing, angry, or difficult opposing villagers? Have you that kind of experience with difficult, disagreeing, and opposing villagers? How do you deal with them?
Oh, every time. So,
Again, we lost your
Sound
voice.
is sound is breaking.
Maybe you could hold this in your
sir,
hand
अब
and then
speak आ रही
direct.
है again, sir? No, I didn't hold it. Yeah.
Yeah.
अब
ठीक
आ रही है
आवाज
sir
आ
ठीक?
रही है।
Maybe
या
you
मैं से
take
हटाऊं?
out
आवाज
and
ठीक
then
है।
hold like this, like a speaker, that would be direct. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be able to hear you, sir. Yeah.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sir, अब आ रही है आवाज?
Now we are hearing you. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think 4-5 सेकंड का हर क्वेश्चन के बाद कुछ होता है, ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so sir, whenever you are in politics,
Mhm.
so facing a difficulty or facing some kind of people not always agreeing with you is something which is very normal. This comes with the everyday work that we do, because being a Sarpanch is not to please everybody. I cannot, every person who is elected in our country has to go by the rule of law. One thing, and there are foundations that we really need to work upon. We cannot just cross our boundaries and foundations just for the sake of going and helping somebody. That would come more or less in a part of a social service. We can do it from our own. But yes, when it comes to a particular elected position, I or any other Sarpanch, or even I can say a member of Legislative Assembly or a member of Parliament, even the Prime Minister of this nation, cannot go out of the way to just help someone. So a very small example I would give you. So in our country, we have this livelihood mission. In that, government provides us with approximately 1,20,000 rupees to make a house. That's called Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. I'm sure a lot of people from our country they know it. Okay, so a lot of villagers would ask me that कि हमारा नाम अभी तक नहीं आया. Our name has not been proposed yet. I cannot help it out because there's a list और उसके हिसाब से ही सबके नाम आएंगे. आप ये बात समझे कि एक लिस्ट है और उसके अंदर से ही सब लोगों के नाम आएंगे. तो जो लिस्ट में पहले if 10 people are done, so it would be the next 11 to 20, then it would be 21 to 30. That's not me who's going to just let somebody whose number is 70 and I'm going to say no, इसको पहले दिया जाए. So people always have this thing कि हमें क्यों नहीं मिल रहा, हमें ये चीज पहले क्यों नहीं मिलती. I cannot look forward to it. Now there are people. We have this pension scheme in our country where at the age of 60 you're given 500 rupee pension, and at the age of 80, at the age of 50 you're given 350 rupees pension from the state, from the central government, and 200 rupees from the state government. And from the center you're given 500 rupees at the age of 80. A lot of people would say कि हमें नहीं मिला. Now, if a person जिसके पास who's not below the poverty line, I cannot help you to get that pension just because you are above the poverty line. So that way, it is always very difficult to please people to come up with something new. Third thing, when I as a person, I know the importance of organic farming. I can do it, but yes, in my Panchayat, there are people who hardly have 5 acres of land or 8 acres of land or 3 acres or 1 acre of land. So if I ask them to, do some kind of an innovation into their lands, it would be difficult for them to trust me because that's the same land on which they are dependent for the road, for the whole month or for the 3 months of food and the utilities. So whatever I propose, it's not easy for them to accept it. It was never easy for this male bastion society to accept females to come in the Gram Sabha and say what they want. It was never easy for the male members of one of the village in my panchayat to allow the women to learn how to sew. So whatever I propose, the different ideas, the innovative schemes, the social people, it is not easy for people to accept them or to allow them. So it's
Ah.
every day there are struggles.
Excuse me. Okay, can you use directly the laptop so that the sound will come direct? So because I'm hearing the participants are saying that now sound is not coming.
Is that okay now?
Now it's okay. Be closer to the laptop so that it will be more better. Yeah.
Gee.
Yeah, now it's clear. Yes. So you have okay. You have answered the disagreeing things. Like the other question, interesting question is, what are the major strengths that helped you succeed in the village? What are your major strengths you think that made you successful?
So, whatever the success lies, that is always with the villagers. So they've been very helpful. Our Panchayat had a lot of issues with the water harvesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I audible now? Yeah.
Yeah, audible, but you have to be a little bit closer.
Little bit sound breaking.
Yeah.
Sir?
Yes,
Now it's
okay.
yeah. Now it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, sir, I'm sorry, I forgot your question. What was it? Okay.
Your major strengths that help you succeed in the village.
Okay. As for me, the one thing was I was very calm. I accepted whatever the people said. My only thing was I was very focused with a positive energy towards what I wanted to do. I'll give you a very amazing example. So we collaborated with one of the hospitals in Bhopal that they would come and check the people. So we got to learn that there were 5 people who needed a cataract operation. And we arranged everything for them. And it was free of cost for the villagers, okay? The next day when these people came back, so the ambulance person, he tended to, just leave them at 200 feet before the starting point of the Panchayat, because that was the road they could easily, take back to their homes. So within half an hour, a boy comes to my place and he tells me that, I'm very upset. I was like, why, what happened? He said, they just left him 200 feet away at one of the, junctions, and this person did not care to stop by at our homes. People got upset not because they saved 20,000 rupees in a day, but they were only upset because the ambulance person, he just left them 200 feet. So with this whole thing, I wanted to tell you, no matter how much you do for the people, no matter how much you go out of your way to help them out, the only thing is they would try and come up with something which is very irrelevant. So I have learned just like to really stay calm. One thing. So second thing was, after these 5 years, I've understood that it is very important for any, at the grassroots level, that the Sarpanch or any elected member needs to be educated. Because it's very, the kind of the policies that we have in our country, it is very important for an educated person to be at that junction so that he or she can understand all the policies and make people aware.
Let's try to make our sound more clear. Do you have any electronic device nearby or cell phone, something like that, that may be distorting the voice?
I'm actually on a cell phone, and I really don't understand what's the matter. I'll just come back again. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll email and come back again. Maybe that's going to work, because this is like something, the network is like full.
Network issue maybe, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Network issue. I'll just check it out.
Yeah. Let's try again. No problem. Yeah.
Hello. Ma'am is connected, sir, or disconnected?
No, she is disconnected. She is trying to come back so that it
Okay,
will be
okay.
clear.
Okay, sir. Maybe network issue.
Yeah, maybe another electric device, or it is distorting or something like that. It's a very technical problem. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am admitted.
Okay. Let's see. Hope now yeah, it will be good.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Now it looks okay, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, yeah. Let's. Yeah, now it's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I hope it will go well. So let me let me try to ask the same question in a different manner. How your Panchayat management style is different from others? Your
Okay.
Panchayat management style, how it is different from others?
Okay. That's the one thing that I like about my panchayat is that there's the 50% women who are in my executive body. They have been very strongly coming up with whatever their views are. That is something that makes our panchayat different. We do these sabhas. We do counseling session for women. The gram sabhas that we hold 4 times a year, it's like the ratio for the men is to women is 60 is to 40. Why do I specify that? Because as our topic is the role of the women in the local the elections. um, the best point is that women, they are more sensitive, and they are more sensible when it comes to the overall development of the panchayat. Any panchayat does not depend on the infrastructure only. It depends on the education, it depends on the health, it depends on the women participation, as you can rightly mention, is the inclusive growth in any panchayat. Okay. And also on the environment, also on the water conservation. So when I talk about my panchayat, it does not only focus on the infrastructure. If I only talk about the infrastructure, there have been the roads that have been built is approximately for 3.92 crores. Okay. We have, when I got to be the Sarpanch, there were only 9 washrooms. Today our panchayat is open defecation free. That means 526 washrooms have been built in each house. Okay. If I talk about the pakka houses, when I was elected as a Sarpanch, there were only 14, and today there are 55% pakka houses in my panchayat. That is approximately 300 out of 526. Now, so this is what most people focus. But let me give you another, also one more area. Now in my panchayat, from past 5 years, there has not been a single case of domestic violence. There has not been a single case which speaks on the harassment of the women. One thing. Second thing, there's not been a single case of malnutrition or maternal mortality rate in my panchayat. Third thing, we don't have a public health center in our panchayat. But yes, we have collaborated with 4 hospitals, and every person in my panchayat is has a free medical facility of their own, plus an insurance as well.
Yeah.
So, and there has been 100% school enrollment. The kind of the things that we do, out of the 4 villages in my panchayat, 2 villages have complete rainwater harvesting process in each of their houses. Every new girl born, we plant 10 trees. So we thought 10 are very less. As of now, we have planted 7,500 trees, and 80% of them have survived. Taking care of the COVID session, we are providing them with the Ayurvedic trees. So when I talk about all these things, it's about the overall development that we have been doing. When we have women as leaders, we also think about the livelihood. So I have 12 self-help groups in my panchayat. I have more than 36 young boys and girls who have got loans from the government under the Mudra Yojana, and they have been doing this small entrepreneurial work very easily in our panchayat. We have these general stores, we have the photographers, we have people who have started the poultry farm, And I have 3 sub-centers for the sewing. Okay, we have 28 women who had nothing, but now they have been well trained, and now they've started their own tailoring business in our panchayat. We've been getting a lot of work from the government of Madhya Pradesh.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So the main thing, let me know if you have already covered, then we'll go to the next question. But I'm
Yeah.
asking this question, I think it is interesting. In what ways female Sarpanch are different from the male Sarpanch? A few points, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
just very few points. Okay, so I'll tell you, women tend to be more creative, as I said, one thing. Second thing, even if we see professors, I'm sorry, Nagin sir, don't feel that I'm being very feministic, but yes, let me tell you, women have that kind of this, they love to experiment on things. They're more innovative when it comes. You see, the best of the homemakers are always the females. The best of the things, So the kind of the innovations, the creativity that women has. And second thing, women are very social. Nobody knows how we can use this social networking in the kind of the work we do. Third thing, I believe that women are always dedicated to a cause. Um, and the cause is never which is monetary based, but more or less the causes are very societal based. So when we take off these things, and yes, as per the surveys, women are less prone to corruption. So I think that makes them a class apart from all the other things. So
Okay, thank
yeah.
you. Just I will ask one question, then I will ask Nagendraji to see some chat questions. But the first question is, what was the decisive factor that made you decide to go Sarpanch at night? One day, you decided, oh, now this is the time I should go for a Sarpanch thing. So, what was the decisive factor after you? I know you came from US and you did that. What was that real one? There may be several, but the most important.
I'll tell you so. So now this is very, very close to my heart. And in our country, we have the scheme called the Midday Meal Scheme. And this is also a way to let a child get his fundamental right to education. So these kids, they also get food in the school itself. The food is prepared by a committee in the school. And so the kid learns as well as, he or she is served with food. So one day casually, I just, went to the school to see what the kids are doing. And I was actually standing at a far more point, and I saw a kid asking for a roti to one of the teachers, and he was denied. Now a kid is denied for a one single roti for what? Because before me there was a sarpanch who used to sell 50% of the grains to the market so as to earn money as a part of corruption. That thing, it shook me deep inside, that why is a kid denied a single roti, a single bread, just because he wants to eat it, just because he's hungry? So that was something that clicked my mind,
Yeah.
that no, things need to change. There has to be a change now. It's either now or it's never. Nobody on this earth could, I could never see a mother denying a kid a bread. That was something that actually shook me. And I told my father. My father said, just don't stand outside and think. If you really want to do something, get into it. Get into that job. Understand. It's not an easy thing that you think that you'll be labeled as a sarpanch and you're going to go. It is not a cakewalk. It is not a cherry on your cake. You really need to get out of the comfort zone of your own. Because so then there are days when at 2 o'clock, when everybody else is sleeping, I actually have to take a drive of my panchayat. Only yesterday there was a 28-hour rain in our Bhopal. So there were mostly the whole city was red alert. And I was actually at my village because I was scared that there might be some kind of a flood. For very small things, we actually have to leave everything. We always have to take an extra step, and every sarpanch has to go out of the league to do it. So and there were n number of such cases when I could see the women not coming in the gram sabhas when they had no say. When the farmers, they were having not even a single say when they used to go to the society to give the grains. There were very small incidents across the year, and I could only see them because when my father called me back, he said, I asked him that the studies I've done, I don't know how it's going to be useful. So the one thing he said was, learn how to ride a tractor and start start it from your own field, and sow something. Then you'll understand that what farming is about. And for the first time, I believe at the age of 25, I understood that why is a farmer so important in our country? What is the role of the farmer? It is then I understood. So that's how the journey started. But yes, it did start in a very negative sense, and today I'm actually proud of it with the kind of the changes we could do. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the
Very good,
factor
very
and
good.
you joined it. Yeah, so now let's see in the chat box. I want to invite Professor Vijay Sharma to very briefly, in one sentence, one or two sentences, his question or queries to our speaker. Professor Vijay Sharma ji, are you here?
Yes, sir. Sir is here. Unmute कीजिए sir. Unmute.
Madam Bhakti, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Madam, I am a professor in an architecture school and I have been associated with some villages.
Yes,
एक मुझे बात आपकी बहुत अच्छी लगी that the villagers of your village, you don't rely on the public medical services. आप सरकारी dispensary पे उतना उसको use नहीं करते and you have a separate kind of a medical assistance system. वो सिस्टम क्या है? I mean that is very important. अगर ये creative है तो the example, the system can be it can be used as a replica in many other villages. ये मेरे जो adopted villages हैं, जो हम जिन villages में काम करते हैं, उसमें medical facilities की there is a huge scarcity. तो अगर कोई ऐसा मॉडल है तो वो शायद हिंदुस्तान के बाकी विलेजेस के लिए भी एक एग्जाम्पलरी होगा एंड इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. तो वो क्या है? मतलब मेडिकल जो आप बता रहे हो, इंश्योरेंस भी कराते हो एंड यू हैव टाई अप विद सम अदर हॉस्पिटल्स, वो कैसे, हाउ यू डू इट? एंड आई मीन फॉर एग्जांपल इंश्योरेंस आप कराते हो तो हाउ डू यू फाइनेंस इट? उसको कैसे हैंडल करते हैं?
सर, तो बहुत सारी हमारी इंश्योरेंसेस के बाद में बताऊंगी. पहले मैं आपको बताती हूँ हमने अपना कॉन्सेप्ट क्या करा था. सर, मैंने आपसे एक बात कही, सोशल नेटवर्किंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सर, मैं भोपाल में रहती हूँ तो मेरे बहुत सारे फ्रेंड्स हैं. सर, आई एम श्योर जैसे आप लोग एलपी में पढ़ाते हैं तो आपके बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिनके शायद पेरेंट्स के अपने खुद के हॉस्पिटल्स होंगे. सर, सारे हॉस्पिटल्स को कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी करनी होती है. सर, ये लोग क्या करते, तो सर अगर हम इनकी हेल्प लें, अगर सर इन्हीं स्टूडेंट्स को ये कहें कि तुम अपने जो जानकार के हॉस्पिटल्स हैं उनसे कहो कि हमारे यहाँ फ्री मेडिकल कैंप्स लगाएं. सर, हमने क्या करा, हमने सिर्फ 4 हॉस्पिटल के साथ कोलैबोरेट करा. सर, बहुत सारे एनजीओज हैं जो इनका काम करते हैं. सर, हमने 2 एनजीओज के साथ फिर टाई अप करा. सर, वो हर थर्सडे एक मोबाइल वैन, डॉक्टर आता है, नर्स आती है. सर, वो सबका कंप्लीट चेकअप करते हैं. तो सर हमें ये समझ में आता है कि बेसिक हेल्थ जो है लोगों की वो ठीक है. सर, उसके बाद जो स्पेशल हॉस्पिटल्स होते हैं, अगर आप किसी से भी रिक्वेस्ट करोगे सर, वो लोग विलिंगली आके आपकी हेल्प करेंगे और वो लोग सर वहां पे फ्री मेडिकल सबको फैसिलिटीज प्रोवाइड करेंगे. सर, अगर बहुत छोटा सा एग्जांपल मैं आपको ऐसे दे सकती हूँ कि अगर आपने सिर्फ कोविड में देखा हो तो हमारे देश के जितने भी टॉप डॉक्टर्स हैं वो 80% से यूथ हैं. इसका ये मतलब है कि जो बिल्कुल नए डॉक्टर्स बने होते हैं या चुने होते हैं, सर इनके अंदर सेल्फलेसली बहुत ज्यादा काम करने की क्षमता होती है, कैपेबिलिटी और कैपेसिटी होती है. बस सर हमने इसी चीज का फायदा उठाया. सर, हमने कस्तूरबा हॉस्पिटल, हमीदिया हॉस्पिटल और 2 और हॉस्पिटल के साथ कोलैबोरेट करा, एनजीओ के साथ कोलैबोरेट करा. हर थर्सडे सर वो लोग आके वहां पे लोगों को चेक करते हैं. जिनको वो बताते हैं ज्यादा बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है तो सर हम लोग उन्हीं हॉस्पिटल्स में रेफर करते हैं जहां हमारे टर्म्स हैं और जहां आराम से सरकार की हेल्प के साथ वहां पे उनका मिनिमम कॉस्ट में या फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट उनका सारा इलाज हो जाए. सर, मगर ऐसे एनजीओ को हमें ढूंढना पड़ता है. जैसे हमने भोपाल साइड सेवर्स को ढूंढा, सबके फ्री आई चेकअप्स करवा दिए. सर, हमने एक ऑर्थोपेडिशियन को ढूंढा, हमने सबके पूरे बोन्स के चेकअप भी करवा दिए. सर, हमने लोगों को उनके ब्लड ग्रुप्स बता दिए. हमने छोटी छोटी चीजों को सिर्फ सीएसआर के माध्यम से करा और अपने टर्म्स और प्यार से उनसे बात करके हमने कहा हमारी ये बेसिक चीजें करवा दीजिए. अगर हम किसी का सर सिर्फ ब्लड का जो नॉर्मल चेकअप और सैंपल करवाते हैं सर किसी भी पैथ लैब की हेल्प से, तो सर जो चीज आपको 100 रुपए की पड़ती है वो हमें 10 रुपए की पड़ी, तो 10 रुपए कोई भी देने में कभी प्रॉब्लम नहीं करेगा. तो उनके लिए सर वो सीएसआर में हो जाता है. और सर हम बिल्कुल भी फ्री में नहीं करवा सकते ताकि लोगों को उस चीज की अहमियत समझ में आए, इसलिए हम उनसे बहुत टोकन अमाउंट ले लेते हैं, 10 रुपए, 15 रुपए, 20 रुपए, उससे ज्यादा नहीं. तो ये सर हमने इसको पूरा नेटवर्किंग के थ्रू करा है. सर,
एक तो सीएसआर तो आपका ठीक लगा, ठीक है, सीएसआर से हो सकता है. लेकिन क्या है कि अब मैं एक सिंगल विलेज की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, बिकॉज यू आर हैंडलिंग वन विलेज। अब क्या है, एक जिले में मान लो फॉर एग्जांपल इन माय केस इन हरियाणा, इन वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऑफ सोनीपत वी हैव गॉट अबाउट 300 विलेजेस।
जी
तो
सर।
एंड वी आर नाउ डिस्कसिंग एट द पॉलिसी लेवल। अच्छा, अब हम क्या कहते हैं कि कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में आप जैसे, आप बहुत डेडिकेटेड सरपंच हैं, आप कर सकते हो, लेकिन मैं कहता हूं कि जो हमारा ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम है और जिसमें ऑलरेडी देयर इज अ प्रोविजन ऑफ डिस्पेंसरी पब्लिक प्राइमरी हेल्थ सेंटर का प्रोविजन है, तो हैव यू एवर ट्राइड टू टैप दैट गवर्नमेंट पोटेंशियल, जिसमें ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट का एक डॉक्टर है, नर्स है,
In the interest of time, let's be brief. Yeah, other
उसको हम क्यों
questions.
ना आगे एक्सप्लोर करें, कुछ पॉसिबिलिटी उसकी क्या लगती है?
सर हमारे यहाँ पे तो नहीं था, इसलिए हमने इसको एक्सप्लोर करा। बट सर आई एम 200% श्योर अगर मेरे यहाँ पे होता पब्लिक हेल्थ सेंटर और मुझे लगता कि वो अच्छे से काम नहीं कर रहा, तो सर मैं तो शायद चीफ मिनिस्टर लेवल तक जाती कि उसके ऊपर आपको एक्चुअली वर्क करना चाहिए कि इसमें हम क्या क्या नई नई चीजें कर सकते हैं। और सर अगर हम उसी पब्लिक सेंटर में सर आसपास के कुछ लोगों को भले ही वीकली अगर बिठाने की बात करें तो सर वो भी लोग बैठते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे अभी इस चीज को हम कर रहे हैं एंड वी एक्चुअली वर्किंग ऑन इट। सर अगर ये 6-8 महीना और चल गया तो I'm sure I'm gonna be able to give you a better policy, because as a pilot project we are doing it as of now. Because we have asked some of the जो residents होते हैं सर यहाँ पे, उनको हम लोग कह रहे हैं कि आप रिक्वेस्ट करके हमको इनको एक हफ्ता आप यहाँ पे बिठाइए, तो उससे क्या नया चेंज हो पाता है। जिनको आप बाद में बिठाएंगे 2 साल बाद, उनको अगर आप अभी से बिठाना शुरू करेंगे तो उनको भी 10-10 दिन का एक्सपीरियंस मिलेगा सर। बिकॉज ऑलमोस्ट अगर हम हरियाणा में सोनीपत की बात करें, पानीपत की बात करें, सब जगह सर मेडिकल गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल्स हैं सर, वहां पे रेजिडेंट्स होते हैं सर, उनको अगर हम 10-10 दिन की ट्रेनिंग के बिहाफ पे सर अगर पब्लिक हेल्थ सेंटर्स में बिठाएं तो सर दैट वुड बी समथिंग जिसके ऊपर वी आर एज ऑफ नाउ वर्किंग। हमने ये पॉलिसी गवर्नमेंट को दी है, लेट्स सी सर इसका क्या रिजल्ट आता है।
Okay, thank you. The
Yeah.
next question.
Yeah, one question is in chat box, sir.
What is that?
Tapendra sir.
Yeah. So what is the question? Read.
What was your manifesto during election time, and did you able to implement it after being a Sarpanch? How it was? Is that easy or not to materialize?
Okay, no, good question. Very briefly, please. Yeah.
So what was the question? Election manifesto में क्या था? What was that?
What was your manifesto? Tapendra sir का question है मैम in chat box. What was your manifesto during election time? Did you able to implement it after being a Sarpanch? How it was? Is that easy or not to materialize?
Okay, so Kapil sir, it was not so easy actually. और सर मेरे इलेक्शन मैनिफेस्टो में वो सारी चीजें थी जो मैंने इम्प्लीमेंट करी हैं सर। So from making roads to having a community hall in our panchayat, to having an extra school in our panchayat, to work on the health facilities of the people, to work on the livelihood of the women. This was all together एक सर वो पूरा जो सबके साथ मिलके हमने डिस्कस करा था। हमें अपनी पंचायत में स्टॉप डैम चाहिए, चेक डैम्स चाहिए, तो उनके लिए हम फंड्स कहाँ से लेकर आएंगे, हमें स्ट्रीट लाइट्स चाहिए। सो माय कांसेप्ट वाज वर्किंग ऑन दी सोलर स्ट्रीट लाइट्स। प्लस हमें रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग के लिए क्या करना है, वाटर वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट के लिए हमारा क्या फोकस है, और सरकार की योजनाओं को कैसे हम इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे पंचायत में, क्या हम सबको आवाज दे पाएंगे नहीं दे पाएंगे, क्या हम अतिक्रमण को कैसे रोक पाएंगे, बिकॉज देयर सो मच ऑफ द रेवेन्यू लैंड इन आवर पंचायत। वी हैव अप्रॉक्सिमेटली मोर देन 700 to 800 acres of the revenue land only in our panchayat. So how would we stop people, to take the hold from them? तो ऐसे करते करते सर एक प्रॉपर एक पूरा मैनिफेस्टो तैयार किया था, बट कुछ भी अपने दिमाग से नहीं किया था। बिकॉज लेट मी बी वेरी क्लियर, when a 25-year-old girl, when she's well read, well educated, so she would always think, अरे मैं तो इसको ऐसा 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 कर लूंगी। But it's actually very different. Even it was very difficult for me as well, because सिस्टम का सर एक तरीका होता है चलने का, जो मुझे शायद 6-8 महीने बाद समझ में आया। I'll give you a very small instance, sir. जब मैं सरपंच बनी तो मैंने अपनी पड़ोस की पंचायत में पूछा कि आप भैया बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, तो आप कैसे कर पाए। सर आपको पता है उसने मुझसे कहा था, हमारे यहाँ पे बाई कहते हैं, तो उसने कहा था भक्ति बाई अभी तो 6 महीने लगेंगे ये पता करने में कि अंगूठा किधर लगाना है। तो आप इससे इमेजिन करिए सर कि हमें चीजों को हम कैसे सोचते हैं या मेरा क्या विजन है, उससे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है कि काम होता कैसे है। तो हमने कोशिश ये करी समझने की काम कैसे होता है। एंड अबव ऑल द बेस्ट थिंग इज सर कि हमारी पंचायत में पिछले 5.5 सालों में एक भी करप्शन का केस नहीं है। सो कोई इवन मेरे सेक्रेटरी के लिए भी नहीं कह सकता कि शायद इसने वो किसी के घर पे चाय भी नहीं पीता, कोई ये ना कह दे कि इसने हमारे घर पे चाय पी है। तो थोड़ा नहीं सर, बहुत टफ रहा है, क्योंकि जब हम थोड़ा सा लीक से हटके करप्शन को एक तरफ छोड़ के एक अलग ढर्रे पे काम करते हैं, things are very difficult. So but yes, they are not impossible. So just trying to
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. So before we go to there is a hand raise. I will ask a few important questions, then we'll go to the hand raise. So let me couple some of the questions together. So you have US experience, you have experience of being a president of the college union, and you have a knowledge about the political science, and you have also done about King's College experience. So can you tell what are the insights you could bring and apply in the village? What were the insights, if available, where you could get from there and you used for managing your village?
Okay. So all that vision that I could gather was from the States. The module of doing it, that was the social networking, meeting of the people and allowing the students to do, allowing myself and the rest of the people to do something different, was something that I gathered from the King's College thing. And the confidence, my vision, that was something I got, and the fear that every child has of the stage, that I could, overcome through when I became the college president. So altogether, I have always understood one thing, that every morning when I get up, I need to be like a student, to learn whatever best is possible, and to work in the minimal, in the worst of the conditions, and bring the best out of it. Because I've understood that हमारे देश में sir, in India particularly, youth तब काम करता है जब उसके सर पर आती है, जब सबसे ज्यादा प्रेशर किसी पे होता है, तब वो बेस्ट दे पाता है. तो इन सारे एक्सपीरियंस से सर मुझे यही समझ में आया कि मैं वहां की किसी भी जगह के बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस को अपने यहाँ पे कैसे फॉलो करूं. सर मैं जैसे लास्ट ईयर व्हेन आई वेंट टू द सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग इंटरनेशनल इकोनॉमिक फोरम, सर वहां पे मैंने अपने देश के एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के बारे में बताया. बट यस, मैंने वहां से बहुत सारी छोटी छोटी नई नई चीजें सीखी, जिनको मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ अपनी पंचायत में भी इम्प्लीमेंट करने का. तो ऑल टुगेदर सर, मेरा जो एक एक्सपोजर रहा है, उसने मुझे बहुत कुछ सिखाया है कि मैं उस पूरे एक्सपोजर को, आई कैन हैव दैट इन अ बॉक्स, एंड दैट बॉक्स इज बरखेड़ी अब्दुल्ला पंचायत. So yeah.
Thank you. So the next interesting question is, what inspired you to pursue the law degree? That you are pursuing the law degree. What inspired you to do that?
Actually, so to be very honest, I never wanted to do it. But so we had this. We have our ex Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. So he was he was a very close friend of my grandfather. We lost him last year. So when I went to him, so one thing he told me, that if you really want to come in politics, you need to understand the law, you need to understand the constitution of this nation, and you need to understand how it works. So, and that thing clicked my mind. So he said that you should actually attend a law school, understand the basics, understand the IPC, and how the law of torts that works, and the rest of the things. Only then you will be able to implement things. Because when you are in politics, the most important thing you need is to deal at the police station. Maybe a lot of times you have to do it, and to deal with a lot of other people, and also to understand the policies. Also, you need to understand the law. So that was something that I made up my mind, that yes, I think I should go for the law degree. And by the way, I've completed it, so I just did my paper. Yeah, so
congrats
Yes.
for that. So the thing is, that was the question. Now I'll go to the hand raise option. And I'll take some questions. Dr. Bhakti Sharma has some question from Nepal. I hope you will give a very short and brief a question to our speaker. Dr. Bhakti Sharma, please.
जी सर.
भक्ति जी, लगता है आप भक्ति ही कर रही हैं सोशल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में, ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में. बट आई वाज जस्ट अमेज्ड दैट हाउ कम फ्रॉम ivory tower you went to ground zero level, and how did you manage to establish the symbiotic relationship between village life and your urban life? And earlier on, Dr. Karki was saying that you know how to push the trigger also. I hope a lot of Sarpanch are trigger happy also. You are not one of them, as I could see, But however, how could you really establish connectivity with the society there? You live in Bhopal?
Yes, I'll explain that to you. So I come from an agricultural background, actually, sir. My grandfather, from those 4 villages, one of the village, it is, we do agriculture over there. So my family actually belongs from Pakistan. So the erstwhile Pakistan, actually. So we came to Bhopal, and the first thing my grandfather did was to buy the piece of land over here, because we were the landlords even in Sialkot. So after that, we came
you
here.
come from a very privileged family, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That was my question. See, आपके इंडियन सीरियल में निमकी मुखिया का क्या था, वो तो exaggeration था, लेकिन how difficult it was for ordinary lady to be mukhia of the place, and what sort of difficulties she had to be. That is the ground reality. In that context, how do you connect? How were you able to connect yourself with the rural setting? Okay. That was my bottom line.
Yeah. Okay. So the bottom line is, connect करना तो सर क्या होता है कि हमें खुद out of the way उन लोगों के पास जाके उनके साथ बैठना पड़ता है. तो मैंने ज्यादातर अपना जो पूरा connection है sir, I made sure that my connection was more with the women and the children of the Panchayat. Because that's how I'm trying to work, because there's this lopsided system in our country, not only in our country, across the world, sir, that most of the time allows not to have a spontaneous growth of the daughters and daughter-in-laws.
Yeah.
Yes. So that I was there to curb that lopsided system. So you won't believe we've started these leadership lessons for the young girls in our panchayat, so that I always don't want to be the Sarpanch. I want these girls also to come up and become the Sarpanch. I'm actually trying to give an opportunity to a lot of women that they can also think. I said that we had these 12 SHGs. These are self-help groups which constitutes mainly the women.
How are you able to bridge the disparity gap between mindset of rural and urban setting?
So, actually, I have understood one thing, that sometimes it's not about equality, but sometimes it's about the justice. So, and they understand that I am not a Sarpanch because of equality, but I am a Sarpanch because of the justice. And that's what I tell everywhere, sir, that you should not be given an opportunity because you're a woman. You should be given an opportunity because you have been equally doing the work like that of a man. So I have proved myself from these past 5 years to do it. That I think that is the only reason I'm able to, get that kind of a connect, get that kind of a respect from even the male members of the society. And also I'm trying to, build these women so that you can also handle these posts like the Sarpanch, the Janpad, the Jilla Panchayat Sadasya in the years in the future to come, sir. Yeah. But yes, let me tell you one thing, Bharat sir, and let me tell this to everybody that I come from a joint family, and sir, my father just called me one day, and when he said that बहुत हो गया America, India वापस आ जाओ, and he preponed my tickets, and I came back. I did not question him, sir, and I believe that's how it is. In our traditional families, we have to understand what our grandfather or what our father says. So, and I think that has been a big boom to me and my success, like coming back here and doing something worth, where I'm actually more than the money, I'm self-satisfied. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now we have a question from Deputy Mayor of Nepal, of a small municipality. She is Geeta Adhikari. She is a female Deputy Mayor. She wants to ask some question. Geeta ji, would you please come over and ask the question?
Namaste, everyone, and good afternoon. Especially Bhakti Sharma ma'am.
Ji Geeta ma'am, namaskar.
Namaste. You mentioned earlier about self-help women program. So I would like to ask you about how to run and plan self-help women program and how to implement in practical.
Okay.
And I mean, what kind of program and policies?
Okay. ठीक है.
For women.
Okay. So गीता जी हिंदी में समझा दूं मैं 1 मिनट में पूरा कॉन्सेप्ट.
Yeah.
तो हमारे यहाँ पे नेशनल रूरल लाइवलीहुड मिशन करके सरकार की एक पॉलिसी है जो स्टेट में आके स्टेट रूरल लाइवलीहुड मिशन कहलाती है. इसके अंदर हम SHG बनाते हैं, सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स. तो हमारे यहाँ पे जो महिलाएं मतलब ओबीसी होती हैं, मुस्लिम महिलाएं होती हैं, या अनुसूचित जाति जनजाति की महिलाएं होती हैं, जो निचले तबके के समाज से आती हैं, मतलब पैसे का जिनको दिक्कत होती है, तो उनके हम ये ग्रुप्स बनाते हैं, सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स। इनको एक हेड होता है जो मॉनिटर ऊपर से करता है, ये इनको कुछ कुछ चीजें सिखाता है। आपने ज्यादातर सुना होगा जो पापड़ सिखाते हैं, अगरबत्ती सिखाते हैं, तो ये सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप सिर्फ अगरबत्ती और पापड़ तक सीमित नहीं है, इनके पास 150 से ज्यादा काम होते हैं। जैसे महिलाएं अपना खुद का टेंट हाउस तैयार कर सकती हैं, जैसे महिलाएं अपनी खुद की किचन तैयार कर सकती हैं। तीसरी चीज, हमने उनको सिलाई सिखाई थी। तो कोविड के समय पे हमारी पंचायत से 3000 से ज्यादा मास्क जो है वो बनकर भोपाल शहर में आए थे। उन लोगों ने मास्क के इनको ऑर्डर्स देते थे, बना के देते थे। हमने इनको 1 महीने तक 28 महिलाओं को हमने सिलाई की ट्रेनिंग दी, और उसके बाद हम उनके लिए काम लेकर आए। वो काम महिलाएं लेकर आती हैं, कभी कभी सरपंच भी लेकर आते हैं, क्योंकि मेरे कॉन्टैक्ट्स हैं तो मैं लेकर आई। यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बड़े बड़े इंडस्ट्रियल एनजीओस काम कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने हमसे कहा कि आपके यहाँ पे लड़कियों से कहिए कि कांच पे हमें काम करके दें, वो हमारे लिए गिफ्ट होंगे। तो हमने उनको उसका सही मूल्य दिया, और उनको वहां पे हमने उनका आदान प्रदान करवाया। तो एज ए सरपंच मेरा सिर्फ ये काम है कि सरकार के जो लोग हैं, या जो इंडस्ट्री के लोग हैं, या एनजीओस जो अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, जो उनको चीजों की जरूरत है, तो मैं अपनी पंचायत से महिलाओं को और लड़कियों को उनके साथ जोड़ देती हूँ। तो जिससे उनको, महिलाओं को पैसा चाहिए और काम चाहिए, और उनको फाइनल प्रोडक्ट चाहिए। तो ऐसे करते हुए इसको हमने काम करा। मगर अगर आपके यहाँ पे लाइवलीहुड कार्यक्रम नहीं है, उसके बावजूद आपके यहाँ पे बहुत सारे एनजीओज होंगे, ये इंडियन इंडस्ट्रीज के सीआईआई होंगे, आप इनके साथ कोलैबोरेट करके महिलाओं को बहुत सारा काम दिलवा सकती हैं। छोटे छोटे काम है, एप्रिन बनाने का काम, जो घरों में सबके इस्तेमाल होता है। जो हमने देखा होगा, जो हाथ से बने हुए साबुन होते हैं, वो वही मॉल में 100 रुपए, 200 रुपए, 300 रुपए के मिलते हैं, मगर मुझे पता है कि उनका मूल वैल्यू सिर्फ 8 रुपए या 10 रुपए है, और 100 ग्राम के साबुन का 15 रुपए है। तो आप 25 रुपए बेचेंगे तब भी महिलाओं का 10 रुपए का प्रॉफिट है। तो इसके लिए मार्केट जो है, आप छोटे मार्केट को देखिए, बड़े मार्केट को मत देखिए, और छोटी छोटी चीजों के ऊपर आप काम कर सकते हैं। आने वाले 5 सालों में जैसे बहुत बड़ी चीज आने वाली है, रीयूजेबल सैनिटरी नैपकिन। उसके ऊपर हमारे यहाँ पे राजस्थान में बहुत अच्छा काम हो रहा है, छत्तीसगढ़ में हो रहा है, मध्य प्रदेश में हो रहा है, तो हम उसके ऊपर भी आगे काम करने वाले हैं। तो ये कुछ ऐसे काम है जो थोड़ा सा आउट ऑफ द लीग तो है, मगर इनके साथ हम एक बड़े पैमाने पे, बड़े लार्ज स्केल पे महिलाओं को नौकरी, काम और पैसा दे पाएंगे, और उनको इंडिपेंडेंट कर पाएंगे। और इसको सिर्फ और सिर्फ आप पापड़ों तक और अगरबत्ती तक सीमित मत रखिए। महिलाओं के ग्रुप्स बनाएं जिनको पैसों की आवश्यकता है, और ये लोग थोड़ा थोड़ा पैसा अपनी तरफ से भी वहां पे सेव करते रहें। पहले पैसे कमाने का तरीका ही सिर्फ सेव करना है, और उसके बाद उनको सरकार से लोन आसानी से मिल जाता है। ग्रुप में लोन मिलना आसान है, तो वो लोन सरकार प्रोवाइड करवाता है, फिर बाद में आप उस लोन को धीरे धीरे करके उतारते जाएं, और आपको अपना पैसा भी मिलता है। यहाँ पे तो महिलाओं ने अपने खुद के बैंक शुरू करे हुए हैं हमारे देश में, ग्रामीण बैंक। तो ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं, ये कहीं बाहर से नहीं आए, ये छोटे छोटे स्तर पे शुरू है, उसके बाद सरकार ने इसको पॉलिसी में लिया है। जी,
थैंक यू सो मच। हम लोग भी काम कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा,
छोटे छोटे महिलाओं का ग्रुप बना रहे हैं।
अच्छा,
यू नो सिंगल वुमेन।
यस यस यस,
हम लोग ग्रुप बना रहे हैं, उसको हम लोग भी कोऑपरेटिव सहकारी बैंक से वो लोगों को छोटा छोटा लोन प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं
जी।
सिलाई की ट्रेनिंग भी दे रहे हैं
जी,
एंड रीयूजेबल सैनिटरी पैड।
हाँ जी।
ऑल्सो हम लोग भी महिलाओं को ग्रुप बना के ट्रेनिंग दे चुके हैं। अब उसको स्कूल में जो गर्ल्स हैं, हम लोग फ्री में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने के लिए प्रोडक्शन कर रहे हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया।
Very good to hear this. Yeah, thank you. So there is a hand raise. There is a Sachendra Deoji. I kindly ask him to be very short question, 1 or 2 sentence question if he has. Engineer Sachendra Deoji, please. Yeah. Are you here?
Yeah.
Please.
Sir, good afternoon and namaste to all. And congratulations to Bhakti Sharma for very innovative and successful Gram Panchayat president for the entire village. Yes, I have heard your presentation, and in presentation during I have noted a position. I am Mr. Sachendra Dev. and by profession I'm civil engineer related with government of Nepal, DUDBC it is called. And I just going short question. You have told that 54% of houses construction in your villages are relating with pakka houses, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It is good for that village, but the houses constructed should be natural, risk free from the natural hazard like flood, earthquake. So have you ensured that it is complied with building code? You have ever checked with your engineers that they are preferring from the building code or not? This is my
Okay.
question.
Okay. Sachin sir, that works under the so whatever the houses that are built in our panchayat or any other panchayat in Madhya Pradesh that have been actually approved by the sub-engineers, the ECs and the CCs of the RES department of the government of Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Now, when I look towards the the geography of Madhya Pradesh is less prone to earthquakes as of now. So whatever the building we make or we prepare, that has actually been approved, because at the end of the day, the money is given by the government of Madhya Pradesh and the central government that works under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji. Okay, that is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Okay. So, the money part is actually not in my hand. So once the pillars are stood, people are given 40% of the money. When they complete the other structure, then they're given the 40% of the money, and once it's complete, then they're given the 20% of the whole money that has been allotted to them. So
Yes.
everything is given by the government. So more or less, whatever we make, let me tell you, even if we make a community hall, and even if there's a slightest of the difference in the centimeters or the millimeters, it's not approved. So that is all done by the engineer who comes and checks it out. Only then the file gets passed and the money is approved. So everything which is done is, that works accordingly. And yes, we do take care of the floods. Because that is one of the problems. But yes, when it comes to the earthquakes, as of now, Madhya Pradesh, it's safe. Let's see what is in the box in the next 60-70 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
I've asked question because our government is also working on the best of the Indian territory. You have providing 20%, but our government Nepal, there is Janta Awas program. Janta Awas Karkam is said in Nepalese, and we have provided near about 80 to 90% by the government funded, minimum 350 to 420. So this is the similar category referred by the Indra Awas Yojana, as you call Pradhan Mantri Modi ji. So that's why I've offered the question. I've asked the question. Thank you for your arrangement.
Thank you very much. We should probably share our experiences between India and Nepal later. But the technical questions has started. So I'll ask Professor Nagendra Narayan to ask a couple of questions that is related to he is also doing his PhD research on leadership and of VDCs, Village Development Committees. So I want Professor Nagendra to ask a couple of questions related to your research.
Thank you, sir.
Again, sir.
So my first question, ma'am, what are the key village development problems in India? What are the, according to you, what are the key development problems in India? Village development exclusively.
Okay. विलेज डेवलपमेंट सर मेरे हिसाब से सबसे ज्यादा अभी अगर हमें अपने देश में विलेजेस पे ध्यान देना चाहिए तो वो एजुकेशन सेक्टर पे ध्यान देना चाहिए, बिकॉज अगर सरकारी स्कूल्स इतने अच्छे होते तो शायद हमें प्राइवेट एजुकेशन की इतनी ज्यादा आवश्यकता नहीं होती. Second thing, I'm really expecting the new education policy. मैंने उसे पढ़ा है, and I really think if the vocational training of the villages में जो बच्चे हैं सर उनका एक अलग ट्रेनिंग, उनका एजुकेशन सिस्टम थोड़ा सा अलग होना चाहिए when it comes to comparing the cities and the villages. So I'm expecting कि उसके अंदर अगर कुछ वैसा चेंज है, so that would be really beneficial. So second thing मुझे समझ में आई है कि हमारे यहाँ पे हम वाटर को बिल्कुल इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं देते. So we really need to work on the water harvesting and water storage. उसके लिए सब केरला में बहुत अच्छा काम हुआ है अभी तक, because 90% of the villages in Kerala, they have been, very strongly supportive of sustainable use of water. तो उसके लिए मुझे लगता है कि हमारे यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा एक आवश्यकता है काम करने की. और तीसरा सर सबसे बड़ी अगर कोई चेंज एक है तो वो है कि हमें फार्मिंग के अंदर बहुत सारी अपने चेंजेस लेकर आने हैं. We cannot solely depend on the organic farming, one thing. Second is, we cannot only think of giving subsidies to the farmers and expect them to really do something which is worth a praise. That won't happen. And yes, a lot of the experiments that might be done in Punjab won't be good for Madhya Pradesh, and what is good in Madhya Pradesh won't be good for Punjab, okay? So as per इसके ऊपर भी थोड़ा स्ट्रांगली काम होना चाहिए, बिकॉज जब हम किसानों की बात करते हैं, सो आई थिंक जब हम देवेंद्र शर्मा जी को सुनते हैं, ऑफ कोर्स ही इज फ्रॉम पंजाब, सो द काइंड ऑफ द एनालिसिस दैट ही गिव्स अबाउट द फार्मर्स, that is altogether different scenario. And so on the MSPs, that is the minimum support price, उसके ऊपर बहुत हमें कुछ एक एक्स्ट्रा कुछ करने की आवश्यकता है. So and the very most important thing as of now, I believe that हमारे यहाँ पे सर हम cities को तो smart करते हैं, but we're not doing when it comes to the case of the villages. What I personally believe, and if ever I am asked by both the government of India and at that of Madhya Pradesh, I would always say, and I'm actually raising my voice, कि हमें village clusters बना के development agendas पे काम करना चाहिए. जी. Because सर गाँव के लोग अपने बच्चों को, अपनी लड़कियों को शहर में नहीं भेजेंगे स्कूल या कॉलेज.
क्या होना चाहिए
सर किसी का माइक ऑन है.
दीपक जी माइक ऑफ गर्नु पर्यो, आवाज आ रहा है. Oh yeah, now it's okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, man. My next question, we have gone through different villages. मतलब हम भारत के बहुत से different गांवों का अध्ययन किए हैं, तो बहुत से गांव, लगभग हमें 15-16 ऐसे गांव मिले हैं जो काफी डेवलप है. जैसे एक आपका पंचायत का गांव हो गया, फिर आपका हिवरे बाजार हो गया महाराष्ट्र में, रालेगांव सिद्धि हो गया, पुंसारी विलेज गुजरात हो गया, मोरी विलेज आंध्र प्रदेश हो गया, तो रामचंद्रपुरम विलेज आल्सो इन आंध्र प्रदेश. तो मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि व्हाई सम विलेज लीडर मींस सरपंच इज सो सक्सेसफुल and rest are very less successful. आपका इसमें क्या विचार है? जी
सर मेरा सिर्फ इसमें ये विचार है कि कोई भी गांव जब डेवलप होता है तो सर वो एक कम्युनिटी बेस्ड डेवलपमेंट होती है. हम सारे देश के हम 4.25 लाख गांव, 2.25 लाख पंचायतों को हम हिवड़े बाजार से या रालेगांव सिद्धि से या बरखेड़ी अब्दुल्ला से कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते. सर कम्युनिटी डेवलपमेंट, कम्युनिटी प्रोग्राम्स और लोगों का सोच और नजरिया बदलने की आवश्यकता है. अगर आपने सर अन्ना जी को सुना हो तो वो हमेशा बताते थे कि उनके ऐसी स्थिति आ गई थी कि अब बस लोग मरने वाले हैं. सुसाइड से उठ के सर लोगों ने वो सोचा. सर हमारे देश में लोग तब तक कुछ नहीं करते जब तक बिल्कुल मरने पे बात नहीं आती. ये एक आप समझिए एक नेगेटिव भी और एक पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट भी है. इसके नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट ज्यादा हैं. सो हम सर सिर्फ 15 गांव से 2.25 लाख पंचायतों की डेस्टिनी काम नहीं कर सकते. और सर पंचायत लीडर के हाथ में उतना ही होता है सर जितना आपके और मेरे हाथ में है. ज्यादातर सर जो कुछ है सर देखिए पॉलिसी इंप्लीमेंटेशन मैं एग्जीक्यूट करवा सकती हूँ, आप करना ही नहीं चाहेंगे तो क्या होगा. तो लोगों का भी सर उतना एक इंटरेस्ट होना चाहिए. तो सर मैं सिर्फ बिकॉज सर मैंने उस चीज को देख रही हूँ इसलिए मैं बता सकती हूँ आपको कि जैसे भरत सर ने भी कहा कि तुम तो इसलिए बिकॉज आई हैव बीन एबल टू डू इट बिकॉज आई हैड अ स्ट्रॉन्ग बैकग्राउंड. हम ऑर्डिनरी लोगों की बात करें ना, हम अगर मैं एक आम इंसान हूँ जहां मेरे को मेरे स्वर्गीय पिताजी का सपोर्ट नहीं था, मेरे दादाजी का सपोर्ट अगर मुझे नहीं होगा तो कितने लोग मेरी बात सुनेंगे. सिर्फ वो मैटर करता है. तो हम उन चीजों पे फोकस मुझे लगता है करें कि लोगों की खुद का भी एक सर एक स्टैंड होना चाहिए कि हम अपनी पंचायत में करवाना चाहते हैं, हम ये डेवलपमेंट चाहते हैं. मैं तो जाके सर टीचर को बोल दूंगी कि आप नहीं पढ़ाती. सर कितने गांव वाले जाके टीचर को बोलते हैं कि मैं नहीं, टीचर आप नहीं पढ़ा रही. फर्क है सर इन दो चीजों में.
जी. लास्ट क्वेश्चन मेरे तरफ से, अकॉर्डिंग टू योर ओपिनियन, what should be the role of village leadership in village development and architecture enhancement, architecture and planning enhancement? Ji, what is your view about?
Okay, so what I think about this is कि because इस problem को मैंने face करा है, मैं इसलिए आपको एक बहुत अच्छी सी बात बताती हूँ सर। सर जब हमारे यहाँ पे RES के लोग आते हैं डिपार्टमेंट से, सर इंजीनियर्स आते हैं, सब इंजीनियर्स आते हैं, या उनके जब बड़े ऑफिसर्स आते हैं, तो सर इन लोगों ने बहुत कम ऐसा होता है कि ऑलरेडी एक प्लान इनका हो कि हम किसी भी पंचायत के 5 एकड़ के लैंड को या 10 एकड़ के लैंड को सोसाइटी के रूप में डेवलप करेंगे। सर वहां पे आर्किटेक्चर्स का एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले होता है, और मुझे लगता है कहीं ना कहीं सरकार इसको मिस कर जाती है। ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है सर। उस चीज को मिस कर देना, और फिर जो पूरा का पूरा जो पंचायत का जो डेमोग्राफी है या जो उसका ज्योग्राफी, वो बड़ा ही ना एक स्कैटर्ड सा दिखता है। यही अगर इसकी ढंग से प्लानिंग हो और ये एक सोसाइटी बेस्ड लगे, तो सर जो आपके पीछे शायद एक इतना प्यारा सा बैकग्राउंड में देख रही हूँ, शायद ही मेरी पंचायत का भी हो सकता था।
बेसिकली एक स्मार्ट विलेज कहीं है जी इंडिया का।
इमेजिन सर, बट ये मेरे यहाँ का नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरे यहाँ पे डेवलपमेंट में एक घर अगर यहाँ पर है तो दूसरा घर सिर्फ शायद किसी और कोने में है, चौथा कहीं और है, क्योंकि और इसके बारे में उनको लगता है कि अब हो गया। मुझे लगता है इट्स नेवर टू लेट टू डू समथिंग गुड। आप आज से ही इसकी प्लानिंग शुरू करो। यू नेवर नो कि जो नेक्स्ट मेरी पंचायत में सोसाइटी बने, दैट वुड बी वेल वर्स्ड। वील हैव प्रॉपर ड्रेनेज सिस्टम, वील हैव प्रॉपर रोड्स। अभी तो सर हमें भी जब रोड बनानी होती है, वी नीड टू डू सो मेनी zigzags, बिकॉज लोगों के जो बाहर उनके खड़ंचे आए हुए हैं उनको उखाड़ना, सेट करना, तो वी नीड टू वर्क ऑन दैट एज वेल। तो इस टाइम पे मुझे हमेशा लगता है कि सरकार को प्लानिंग तो सच में हर पंचायत की अब भी अगर कर दें सर, तो लेट नहीं हुआ, इट्स नेवर टू लेट। सो यस, आई मतलब आई तो विश अगर मेरे पास शायद आप होते तो कुछ कुछ चीजें मैं भी शायद अलग और डिफरेंट कर पाती। सो बट यस, आई थिंक
बिल्कुल सहयोग रहेगा मैम। थैंक यू वेरी मच जी।
Thank you.
Thank you, Karki sir. We have more question, but we will interact more because the number of people. Yes, ji. Thank you.
Yeah. So in the chat box there is one question that is quite similar to mine also. So he's saying, ma'am, could you highlight how the female leadership could be enhanced? How can be the female inspired for leadership role? So my question in this is, I will add my question also. What is needed to attract more educated female Sarpanch in India? So these two questions are quite related. So let's combine this Baburamji's question and my question, and please answer it. Yeah.
Okay. So last year I went to United Nations and I had to speak on the inclusive growth. So with me sitting was the Joint Secretary and the Additional Secretary of the Government of India from the Panchayati Raj, and I was so glad to know that there are 6 million women in our country today who have been on the post of Sarpanch, Janpad, Jila Panchayat and Jila Panchayat Sadasya. 6 लाख महिलाएं सो, ये शायद उतना ही नंबर है जितना किसी कंट्री के लोगों का नंबर होगा, उतना हमारे देश में महिलाएं जो हैं। As per the government, 50% of the women are on the elected seats at the 3rd tier of democracy. Now, when you ask me, how can we have educated women? So it is all about the trust that we really need to inculcate in them that yes, they can do. And it is the support of the family and the society as a whole that would allow women to nurture, nourish themselves and bring about those leadership qualities in them so that they can also develop the rest of the women as the leaders for the upcoming tomorrow. तो उसमें आपका और मेरा सर बस इतना रोल हो सकता है कि हम इनकी काउंसलिंग करें, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग के प्रोग्राम्स करें, और हम इनको एक फ्री स्पेस दें ताकि अपने आप को ग्रो कर पाए। तो उसके लिए हमें इन पे ट्रस्ट करना है, और उसके लिए हमें सरकारी किसी 50% रिजर्वेशन की जरूरत नहीं है। इफ यू थिंक दैट यस देयर इज अ वुमन who's near to your place and you think she's doing a good job, so you should actually be a support system to her, help her to grow in that respective area where she is. And trust me, if we have the educated women at the grassroots level, most of the problems that you and me think are actually very big, they won't be there. As I told you, imagine the panchayat which has 0 maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate. कहने को भी अच्छा लगता है, सुनने को अच्छा लगता है. Not even a single person who's malnutritioned. So I'm telling you, the kind of the sensitivity the women has and the kind of the approach, the innovative approach she has, because she would also nurture that panchayat like one of her family and one of her homes. तो उसके लिए हमें ही महिलाओं को पहले एक तो एजुकेटेड बनाना है, उनको कॉन्फिडेंस उनके अंदर बिल्डअप करना है. Then she needs to have those 4 Ds. That is a determination, dedication, devotion and discipline. These 4 Ds in collaboration with the 3 Cs that I said first: collaboration, creativity and commitment. If we have them together, I'm sure we can really have strong women coming up. और ऐसा नहीं कि हमारे देश में महिलाएं नहीं आई. I can proudly say कि हम तो एक ऐसे देश में से आते हैं जहाँ we had a prime minister who was so strong. We had a president. We have so many chief ministers. We have governors. और कितने वर्ल्ड के डेवलप कंट्रीज में भी महिलाएं नहीं हैं. तो हमारे देश में ये तो कहीं नहीं कह सकते कि नहीं महिलाओं को हम आगे नहीं बढ़ाते. It is just the approach that we need to have towards the women. That's it. That is what is needed as of now from the society.
Okay, thank you. We have just two short last questions.
Yeah.
One thing is that, you know, there are thousands of villages, village development committees. Many are poor and less educated sarpanch and all. There are thousands, but few 20-24 are educated and doing well. I mean, the majority are poor and less educated. So, you know, what do you think we should do to be like you know, doing a lot of projects, being responsive, making change to those, you know, mass of uneducated and poor VDC chairmen?
So what I believe is that education is, as of now, not the criteria in most of the states in India. अब सर इसके अंदर बस ये दो अच्छी चीजें हो सकती हैं कि हम लोग जो सरकार की तरफ से जो ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं सरपंचों के, वो थोड़ा एट लार्ज एट लेंथ हो. पहली बात ये. दूसरी बात ये कि हम उनको बहुत सारी चीजें जो लिख के समझ में नहीं आती, पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन से ज्यादा समझ में आती हैं. इसका एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल मैं आपको ये देना चाहूंगी कि जब हमारे देश में स्वच्छता अभियान मोदी जी ने जब शुरू करा, तो नीचे जब वो जनपद लेवल पे आता है, दिस मींस जब वो सेकंड टियर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी तक आता है, तो जो हमारे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर्स थे उन्होंने सब पिक्चर्स बना दिए थे कि ऐसा वॉशरूम बनेगा, इसके अंदर ऐसा होगा, ऐसा नहीं होगा. तो वो लोगों के दिमाग में आ गया एंड पीपल स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन इट. तो इससे हमें ये समझ में आ गया कि क्लैरिफिकेशंस कहाँ से आते हैं, जब कोई पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशंस उनके सामने होते हैं. अगर ये प्रोग्राम्स अगर हम 1 वीक या 2 वीक्स के रख दें, जिसमें सरपंचों को सारे डिपार्टमेंट्स के लोगों के साथ बैठ के समझने का मौका मिले, एक 1-on-1 उनकी ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग सेशंस हो, तो उससे मुझे लगता है कि एक बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग चेंज आ सकता है. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग के ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स हो नहीं पाते. What is needed is just, you know, my focus is very strong on the capacity building because I know that could change heaps and bounds. And second thing is, if we give them examples and if we let the, you know, we have these programs in our country that is done by the NIRD, that is the National Institute of Rural Developments, जहाँ पे सर वो सरपंचों को रिसोर्स पर्सन की तरह बुला के बाकी सरपंचों से मिलाते हैं और वो नए नए क्या क्या एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर सकते हैं वो सिखाते हैं. अगर इनको थोड़े और स्ट्रांगली करा जाए in collaboration with the government of that particular state, I think it's going to be, it would really change the perspective of the people towards the Panchayat.
Yeah, thank you. There are just last 2 questions. There will be no more than that. I think we are making you very rigorous in this thing. So the thing is, the Vijay Krishna Shresthaji is asking a very long question, but if he is there, I want him to come to video and give a 1-sentence question to our speaker. Vijay Krishna Shresthaji, are you here?
Okay, Karki ji, thank you very much. Okay, I will be very brief. Actually, I have a couple of questions because you studied and live in England, which has a very individualistic society and teaching process. But you have been working in India at the Panchayat level. That is, in India and Japan, actually, we have group yellow, you know. We work together, we work in a team. So my first question is how your experience and education from individualistic to the group yellow change. That is one question. The second question, when you are working at a local level, your relatives, your neighbors, and other friends, actually, they might have some sort of pressure for favoring some work. So how do you manage that? Is it because of your well-to-do family background or some other reasons? Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, Bijay sir, thank you so much. So one thing when you said that, how do you shift your education to, say at the end of the day, let me tell you that I am very much from the country that is called Bharat, India. And I've always been born and brought up in a very traditional family. तो मुझे सर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा. मुझे मैं शायद 40 साल अगर अमेरिका भी रह लूं जाके, और मैं वापस आऊँ तो sir, I'll be exactly the same, because these are the basic things that have been inculcated in me from the very core when I was actually 5-year-old, that I have to work for the society. And that's what I've actually seen my grandfather, my father, my brother doing from like approximately 3 generations. So I'm doing it. So there's actually nothing changed. और इंडिया में हमेशा से कल्चर रहा है कि हमको अपने से ज्यादा दूसरों के बारे में सोचना है. And sub pressure is something that I'm actually living with it every day. Because there's a pressure when my cousins would say कि you don't take the Sarpanch and we will handle it, and I'm not allowing them to do it. One thing. Second thing, there's always been a pressure from my peer group saying that why do you want to do such a job because Sarpanches are not paid. Let me tell you, I just get an honorarium of 1,735 rupees per month. So I'm not paid. So a lot of people would actually ask me, why don't you do some kind of a business, or why you're not taking up your family business, or why you're not doing the job 9 to 5? That would be easy rather than working 24/7. So, always that peer pressure, your acquaintances asking you a lot of things. But what keeps me motivated is my will to bring about a change, to become the voice of the farmers, to become the voice of the villagers. And yes, I am not a person who's gonna ever favor anyone or anybody. I'm a person who strictly works upon the core principles and the value system of what I have been given. That's why I said that my panchayat, there's not been a single case of corruption. There's not been a single case of women harassment. You touch a woman at my place and I'm going to show you what I can do as per the legal aspects. So when it comes to my principles and my values, I'm very strong and very stringent, and there's not been a single fragile thing that happens when it comes to it. And I have understood that I have a responsibility towards this panchayat, and this is not my power, but this is my authority that I have to do something. So I always try that I am not here to favor anybody or give them favors or help them with any kind of things. I'm not meant to do that, and I really hope that I live with these principles till my last breath. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think we cannot entertain more and more questions. So let me ask Surinder Baga if he has any questions. Otherwise, we'll move
Dr. P.K. Sharma sir. Surinder sir left, I think.
Okay, P.K. Sharma ji, come on, come over on the video, please. If you have a question, and be very brief in 1 or 2 sentences. We are running out of time. I think he also left.
Dr. P.K. Sharma sir, he's here, sir, I think.
Okay. Okay, I think he is.
Sir is here. Dr. Pushpendra Kumar Sharma sir.
Yeah, please come over and ask your question briefly, 1 sentence.
Yes, sir. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, sure. Yes.
Sir,
brief question.
There is one question to Bhakti ma'am. I salute her efforts. She is very well doing there. There is one question that there were village lagoons in village panchayats, means pools, where naturally wastewater was being treated. And nowadays, land mafias, bhoo mafias are acquiring them and erecting some structures and private houses. So what are you doing for this kind of bad activities going on?
Okay, so sir, as I told you that we have approximately 700 acres or more land in our panchayat, which comes under the land revenue and the land revenue of the panchayat itself. So it's actually very difficult, to stop these people, but because a lot of the people don't do it because they're afraid that they might not get the vote of the particular sect in the next years. But as per me, I'm very strict when coming to these things. So even the collector and my SDM, they're also very sure that if some kind of such activities happen, she would be the first one who's gonna make a how and a cry of all these things. And yes, I don't take money from them. So I said so. Once you have a particular set of values and principles, I actually abide by them. I have nothing to take from them. So they know that the kind of the complaints I make against them, and I don't even let them put a single stone or a brick over there. Obviously they're very upset with me. That's I think that's the reason I keep a pistol. So just don't mess with the Sarpanch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Brave
you for
effort.
asking a good question. So,
Yes.
so we are end of the program. So the last question would be, what do you want to say to the youth of whole South Asia? You know, you are a youth, young person. What do you want to say to the whole South Asia youths? What message you want to give? What experience you want to share?
Okay. So one thing that I really need the youth of the whole South Asia to understand that yes, now that the power is shifting and it is not in the hands of those allies, you know, that was during the Second World War. It is the power today in the Southeast Asia, the kind of the resources we have, the kind of the strong working youth we have today. We really need to have a positive energy and work for the development with the vision that our great leaders had for our countries. One thing you need to be very sure. Second is, at any point of time, you think that yes, you've gone too far. Always remember, there's always a U-turn to take that, come back to our roots and start. Let me tell you, in Nepal, you have such great people. I know Mr. Bhushan Dahal, who's been actually working with the students of Kathmandu. He's working at the poorest areas over there and trying to give education to the people who are in need of it. So we actually have such youth who has been representing across the globe. They are in Nepal, they are in India, they're everywhere. They're also in Bangladesh because I've met all these people in different forums. What I've understood is that yes, every one of us is working with a positive energy, trying to build a better future for our nation and yes, for the upcoming generations. So that's the only thing. And yes, just don't forget the 4 Ds. You know, it is our determination that will make our country strong. It is our dedication that yes, we need to stand up for the women of our countries. And yes, we need to be in a very disciplined manner. We just cannot forget our culture. We cannot think of, being westernized. We have our culture, we have our traditions, and we should be very proud of it. I, as an Indian, is very proud of what my culture is. And yes, most of the cultures, they have got, we don't see them today. बट यस कहते हैं ना कोई हस्ती है साहब हमारी जो हम अभी तक मिटे नहीं है हमारा 5000 साल पुराना हमारा कल्चर हमारे ट्रेडिशंस हैं लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट इट and with this strong culture and tradition and the education that you and me we have today I think altogether in a very strong manner we can be the world powers. Let's actually work on it and above all we should work for the justice of the women altogether. I pray that you all have a great time ahead and we strongly come across this COVID pandemic and again establish and build ourselves. Nepal has been one of the best examples of building itself after so many natural disasters, but still today you stand strong. And yes, India as a nation is always with Nepal.
Yes.
And of course, yes, altogether we can really make a big change. And we really need to stand together. So that is something that I really want to say. Thank you so much for the invitation. Tej sir, it was such a pleasure that you were asking me the question, and I'm so sorry for all those, the sound thing. And again, ji, this is completely my pleasure to speak to my family in Nepal. So
Yes.
thank you so much. And
Yes.
may we all grow together. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your nice note and your time, your valuable time, your interest with a lot of difficult questions, too many questions, and you took all with patience and everything. So thank you very much for enlightening us, and thank you all the participants for their active questions, very energetic questions, and we learned a lot. So it was a great day. Thank you, Professor Nagendra, and thank you, Mr. Guneet, Architect Guneet, for organizing this program. We should organize this kind of learning sessions in future. Thank you, and thank you very much to all once again. So I think it's a time to say bye-bye. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
So we will organize further the sessions such type of for more development in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guneet sir. जी पुष्पेंद्र सर.